Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the Final Furlong Podcast. Adam Mills, Archie Brooks returns to the podcast. Bloodstock expert Laura Joy and Jamie Wrenn. Let's get your thoughts on the Derby show. The betting is now headed by the Lion in Winter, who'd gone all the way out to 6-1, which, by the way, not a massive price after a comeback that was rather underwhelming. 7-2 is the top price about him. He is 9-4 and 5-2, 2-1 in places. He has been backed incredibly strongly. Delacroix has gone completely the other way, 5-2 out to as big as 5-1 with one firm, 4s in places. Pride of Arras has been shortened into 4s, really convincing winner of the Dante Stakes. Ruling Court, the 2,000 guineas winner, is a 4-1 shot, and it's pretty much whatever price you want about the rest. Twain will have a pretty tight turnaround. He's going to make his comeback in the Irish 2,000 guineas. Close enough to be coming back out for a Derby, but perhaps he could. 16-1 is the big price for him, and 14s. So let's talk first of all about the Lion in Winter. We should, of course, be talking about Pride of Arras because Ross O'Ryan is on the tour with all the media appearances saying this is a serious racehorse. Rafe Beckett's horses have really been struggling in those races. So for him to come out and win as well as he did, and this is something Ross O'Ryan highlighted, suggests he's a very good horse, Laura. But the Lion in Winter is where we'll start because he's the one that's captured people's imagination. And Aidan O'Brien is bidding to do what he's done for the last 2 years. It's just that this horse is coming from the Dante instead of the Guineas. But Auguste Rodin was awful in the Guineas. So was City of Troy. Didn't matter. They both won the Derby. Can the Lion in Winter be salvaged as well?
He's a funny horse for me. I've got a bit of ongoing jokes with some friends about him. I saw him as a yearling and I thought, and I was vocal about it, that he was going to take a lot of time. So when he went and won the Epsom like that, I was like, I had egg on my face and I looked rather silly. And I was a big Ruling Court fan as well. So me and the Lion in Winter have a little bit of beef going on with that. But from a pedigree perspective as well, he's got one very, very difficult trend that he needs to buck if he's going to win the Derby. And that is that See the Stars has only had one group winning 2-year-old that has gone on to improve and win a group race thereafter, which was Cloth of Stars. And he didn't do it until he was 4. So typically with See the Stars, if you do push them at 2, they can tend to struggle. No, I'm not saying they pushed him. He obviously was doing what he was doing very naturally at home. But that's just a big statistic, pedigree-wise, that he needs to overcome. And the way he ran in the Dante would suggest that it's an uphill climb. The betting says otherwise. But yeah, so that's a concern for me. And as a huge Ruling Court fan, I'm hoping that Ruling Court can do the double.
Can I counter that by asking how many See the Stars has Aidan O'Brien trained to win group races as juveniles?
I think he's the first one.
Yeah. So we're talking about the GOAT here. Things are a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he's also, what he did in the Epsom was remarkable as well for See the Stars. So yeah, I mean, he can, he's definitely the one to do it if someone's going to do it. But the Stars.
I could also counter it negatively before I go on to the others, Laura. Maybe in the Epsom Stakes, that was a brilliant tactical ride from Ryan Moore, and he stole the race on the front end. William Buick was too far back on maybe the best horse in the race in hindsight. Mm-hmm. And now history has changed and revealed that, oh no, actually Ruling Court was the better horse that day. And everybody is just sort of clutching onto this idea that the Lion in Winter is this absolute machine and superstar. But you're not getting the hype about Auguste Rodin or City of Troy that you're getting from Coolmore that you were getting about this fella. And maybe the reason that hype isn't there is because, well, he's by See the Stars, so they don't have to. Why would they be hyping this fella up? He's not a Coolmore stallion. But I'm not getting the, oh my God, this is City of Troy 2.0 type of vibes about him.
Yeah, I felt like maybe before the Guineas this year there was a little bit of a change of tact anyway when it came to talking up horses. Aidan was a bit more conservative about all of his horses before the first classic, saying, oh, they might need the run and we might not get there and whatnot. And maybe that was just circumstance, but it seemed to me that perhaps they might have learned a little bit of a lesson with the last 2 years, that if you are winning by 5 lengths, then people are going to mark them down as a disappointment, aren't they? So
yeah,
you don't really stand to gain much by hyping them up. I think people have kind of come a bit wise to it now. The market is speaking now about it, isn't they? He must have bounced out of the Dante at home because the money's coming for him. I would say that obviously I think he broke the track record, didn't he, in winning the Epsom?
Yeah, he did.
I think there was a tailwind and the ground was quick and whatnot, but he still obviously put up a good time. Without that factor in there, I would be agreeing with your second sentiments, and I'd be saying Ruling Court clearly didn't run his race that day, and I still would maintain that, but the Lion in Winter did put in a monstrous performance that day. Like he obviously has a huge engine under the bonnet, but whatever's happened in between that performance and his reappearance is anyone's guess, because we didn't see him and for a long time, and obviously they kept saying as well that whether they were behind with him and they didn't know if they were going to make it to the Guineas first, obviously, and then the Dante. They said he'd need the run. So what was going on with him? I'd love to know. But I'm going to stick with Ruling Court in any case.
Okay. Are you concerned about his ability to stay the trip? He's by Justify, and his siblings, it would be mixed in terms of stamina.
Not really. I saw him in Dubai and I thought there was a lot of high chaparral about him. Similar to City of Troy, you're seeing more of that Sellers Wells coming through in his physique. And Justify obviously won the Belmont as well, so there's stamina on that side as well. And he looked at Maidan like he could go around again. And the Guineas potentially he was going as quick as he wanted to. And that's why Fiona Go got as close to him in the end, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of surprised that Ruling Court has not just become the default favourite, Adam. I don't really understand. Maybe people haven't copped on to the fact. It's possible the Field of Gold wins the Irish Guineas this weekend, and then people go, oh, that form's actually really, really good. But are you surprised to see the Lion in Winter backed into favouritism this morning?
Yeah, I have no interest whatsoever in that kind of 5-2 sort of price. I mean, how many points is Aidan O'Brien worth in terms of the betting? I know he's done it the last 2 years, but the Lion in Winter finished the Dante on Friday. More interested in kind of taking that sort of price about a horse for all that he may well turn him round. Delacroix is certainly interesting. Ruling Court's interesting. I don't know. This feels like a little bit of a messy race at this stage, and I think I couldn't even tell you how I would price what Ryan Moore would want to ride at this stage, because I'm just not sold by the Lion in Winter. There were excuses in the Guineas for Auguste Rodin, and there were excuses in the Guineas for City of Troy. I didn't really see any excuse for the Lion in Winter. I just thought it was rancid. So to think that I want to take 5-2 about something less than 3 weeks later, if Aidan wins this, then fair play, pat him on the back, great training performance. But I'm quite happy to keep my powder dry on that. That being said, I backed one of Aidan's called Lambourne. I thought he was quite impressive at Chester. I really like that performance. Thought that was a good each-way swing. The form of the Dante could be overshadowed, and there is a very good chance that Pride of Arras and Damasus are the best staying 3-year-olds. And because everyone's watching the Lion in Winter, people have forgotten to look at actually how impressive the winner was. And the second did a lot wrong, rolled around, shifted across the track. That was quite a good run. I think if I was going to have a bet now, I'd ignore the first 4 in the market, and I'd be really having a deep each way swing on the basis that maybe Ruling Court won't stay. The Lion in Winter looked terrible. I don't think Delacroix's beaten anything. Pride of Arras was the best horse in the Dante, but it wasn't expected, so will he do it again? I like Lambourne. I like Damasus. They're double-figure prices. If you're going to have an anti-post at the moment, you've got to be looking at the big prices, because you've got no idea what price the favourite should be.
Yeah, there's just a blind assumption that the Lion in Winter is this absolute machine and superstar. And again, I'm not so sure that he is. I think he's very, very talented, and maybe he is going to just explode into life. But you were getting the hype about Auguste Rodin, and he had the Group 1 form as a juvenile. You were getting the hype about City of Troy, and he had the Group 1 form as a juvenile. The Lion in Winter did it once. I'm not so sure. I'm not sold fully yet. I was really sold in the other two. Plus, Aidan had 28 days to turn them around. 23 days this time around. So, where are you with the Lion in Winter, Archie?
Yeah, well, before the race, he was pretty sweaty and getting worked up, and he wasn't to go to the stalls, which isn't something we see for the Ballydoyle horses. Most of the time they just walk straight in. And he was pulling Rymore's arms out for the first couple of furlongs. Yeah, he just got so worked up. I thought he did okay to finish where he did, but I don't think he's as good as Troy or Auguste Rodin. I think Ruling Court will get the 1.5 miles, and theoretically, if he wins RBA, to see him go for the Ledger. they're putting on that big bonus. I can't see them doing it. But there's one I've taken at a price. I'm not entirely sure if he'll go, but Stanhope Gardens for Rafe Beckett. He hasn't ran yet this season. Delacroix, I think it was the Autumn Stakes in Newmarket in his last run last season. He's by Gayaf. He'll love the step up and trip, and taking the 25-1. I think there's some 33s going about him if he makes the race.
There's talk that he's going to have a very, very unusual comeback. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So he's going to come back this weekend over 7 furlongs and then go to the Derby, which is essentially they just need to get him out and get a run into it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd almost ignore what he does. It wouldn't really matter to me. Just as long as he's first 5 and then build from there. But the Beckett team sounded reasonably confident about him. And of course, he's from the progeny of Gayat as well. So he's going to be interesting to see. Or Rayath, as Laura King told me, was the actual Dubai pronunciation. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll go with either one. Line in Winter, Jamie? You buying the hype?
Yeah, I bought the hype a long time ago, Emmet. Yeah, I think because he wasn't ready for a guinea. They said it last year after the Epsom, he's a Derby horse. Aidan O'Brien playing all games again. Exactly what Archie said. Like, he was worked up. He's pulled the head off. Like, Brian Moore couldn't get him settled. So get the freshness out of him and he'll still win the Derby. Yeah. But Laura says there, it's a 2-horse race. It's between the Line Winter and Ruling Court. I can't see anything else beating it. Beating the two of them. To be honest with you, I think they're stand out a mile still. It's
Ruling
just
Court should be favourite though, shouldn't he? Like, he's the class winner.
He should, yeah, because my old way of picking Derby horses really, years ago when I was a lot younger, was picking 2,000 guineas winners to win. I always kind of did that as a rule of thumb. Look at the guineas first, then move to the Derby. But no, I can't see anything beating the two of them in a Ruling Court to the Line Winter, but I still think the Line of Winter will win, yeah.
Okay, one of the things that's kind of fascinating about the bloodstock world these days, Laura, and this is one of the reasons why I'm delighted to have you on the show, because you know this far better than the vast majority of people do, the bloodstock world. There's such an emphasis on precocious speed and precocious juvenile talent, which is great. You get yourself a Royal Ascot horse, maybe you win a couple of group races with 2-year-olds. Are those horses going to be able to go and win a Derby? I'm not so sure. And every single season, Aidan O'Brien ends up then with horses that can be good enough in time to go and compete in the Gold Cup. But they have that class and they have that stamina. And there's a couple of horses that I would look at. One of them is Lambourne, who Adam has talked up. The other is a horse no one's mentioned yet, and that's Stay True. I thought he was the best horse in the Lingfield Derby trial. He coped very well with Lingfield, which means he should cope well with Epsom. Aidan mentioned him at the weekend as a horse that is still potentially on track for the Derby. He did say it's all down to the lads and that the Line in Winter, they were pretty happy with him and he'll come on for the race. So it's entirely possible that Ryan Moore I said this on TalkSport the day after the Dante. It's entirely possible that Ryan Moore will still ride the Line in Winter. He'll be the number 1 and then you'll know your fate with Delacroix very, very quickly. But if Stay True is added to the field and they have to supplement him, that 33-1 would look very big to me. Can you talk me off him?
No, you couldn't. You couldn't put anyone off back in a Galileo in the Derby. And racing tends to love a good story, doesn't it? And it's his last crop, and I think he only had 12 foals in his last crop. So it would be remarkable. It would just be the fitting way to end his career, really, with the classics in his career with Epsom, Galileo's career, that is. So couldn't put you off him. I could see that being enough for them to supplement him. Definitely, I could see that being a reason that they would do it. I don't know about the trial itself. I wouldn't rank it up there with the best of what we've seen. But he's done nothing wrong, really, bar not win that on the day. And yeah, he's got every right to line up, really.
In a Derby that is really wide open, and that's one of the things that you've all emphasised. Jamie is very keen on one of either Ruling Court or the Line in Winter. By the sounds of things, it's the Line in Winter. I know, Laura, you're very keen on Ruling Court as well, but Adam and Archie were both emphasising this is open, this race, and there are question marks about those horses. Stay True is the one that really interests me. Adam, for you, it's Lambourne.
Yeah, it would be Lambourne.
Okay. Archie, if you're going to take a swing at one at a big price, Stanhope Gardens?
Stanhope Gardens. I also backed Tornado Alert 101 a couple of weeks ago after the Guineas. I thought he ran really well, to be fair to him, and I think he'll step up trip. So a speculative 100-1 shot there.
Nice. Said Bin Sarur was saying before the race, he was saying he's a Dante horse. Immediately after the Guineas, he went straight to the Derby, please. Thanks very much. And considering Wimbledon Hawkeye ran well enough in the Dante, that Guineas form has been advertised, but I don't see any reason why Said's horse wouldn't confirm superiority over him. If there is a big price horse in the race, Jamie, for you, I know you were saying it's between these two, but if there's one you were going to swing at a big price, who would it be?
None of them. The one you mentioned, we mentioned last week, didn't we? That Stay True, is it? That one that was second in the Lingfield there, but I think that's a King Edward horse. Yeah.
Okay.
Royal Ascot. We said it that last week, didn't we? Yeah. He was definitely this eye catcher of that Lingfield day, anyway, in my book, and in yours.
Yeah, 33-1 for the Derby is too big. I understand it might very well be the Royal Ascot Derby, the King Edward VII that he goes for. Don't be shocked if that's the race the Line in Winter ends up winning, by the way. Because he's a very unusual Aidan O'Brien 2-year-old. He doesn't have a Group 1 penalty.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So they might just go the Japan route with him. Runs nicely in the Derby, but gets beaten. And then follows Japan's footsteps, wins the King Edward VII Stakes, wins the... I have a feeling they're working backward from the Jumpment International, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. The Oaks. The favourite is Desert Flower. Will she stay Laura Joy?
Yeah, she should. There's no reason to think she won't. She looked every bit at an Oaks filly last year when she won the Fillies Mile, and there's nothing that has happened in the Guineas to put me off her. I'm mad about this filly. She's stunning. She's scopy. It's easy to say, but she's gorgeous. She's straightforward. She got speed. She's tractable. There's no hole in her. She's perfect.
So this is sounding like... No, that's Basher Watts' horse, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
So this is who the French conspired against. This is sounding like a Godolphin double for you then. Ruling Court in the 2000, in the Derby even, the 2000 Guineas winner, and Desert Flower for the Oaks.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like even after that weekend they had Guineas weekend, Kentucky as well. But yeah, I think so. I mean, there are some other nice fillies in there for sure, who have the potential to improve. But yeah, on what we've seen so far, Desert Flower is the rightful favourite, and yeah.
Well, considering what journalism did in the Preakness Stakes, they're going to have a massive chance if they confirm the superiority over him in the Belmont Stakes. He's been kept fresh sovereignty, so they've got a big chance of winning that. Massive chance of winning the Derby with Ruling Court, and by the sounds of things, a huge chance of winning the Oaks. Is she right to be the price she is, Adam?
Yeah, I think she's the right price. She's Chief the Mo, she's unbeaten. Does she stay? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure I'd want to take the price she stays. But having said that, this doesn't look to me like there's going to be 15 runners in a huge early pace, so she may not need to be an absolute out-and-out stayer to win it. But I will take her on. I'll be careful how I word this because this might affect your YouTube algorithm. But Owen Burrows' filly Falakia has been very, very impressive. Her form is working out really well. That win at came out and won at Newbury. Really like the way she did that. She will definitely stay a mile and a half. And I thought she was far too big. I'd have her as second favourite on what I saw. So at this stage, if I can get 8-9 to 1, I'd probably rather take that. For all that I think Desert Flower is the most likely winner, Falakia is the one that's the wrong price for me.
And Falakia, careful pronunciation, is a sea of blue on Odds Checker today. 6 to 1 with some firms. You can get 8 to 1. One goes 9s, and it tends to be that firm that manages to get a lot of these horses sunk. So I don't know why they're going that price, but maybe they know something we don't. But 6 to 1, 7 to 1 is the general price across the board. Aidan O'Brien's going to go in with a pretty strong team, but his old nemesis, Charlie Appleby, looks to have a very, very strong chance here, Archie Brooks.
Yeah, I think for me, looking at it, I really like Minnie Hawk's run in the Cheshire Oaks. She's a 6 to 1 shot just now. She's only had the runs going into that race. She stepped up full half a mile. I thought she was carrying a decent bit of condition in the paddock, and I really like the way she went about things. I think that'll really bring her on. And then there was another filly at a bigger price I like called Albea for William Haggis. Again, another one I'm not entirely sure if she'll go here, but if anyone hasn't watched it, I will encourage you to go and watch that replay at Yarmouth that she won in last year. She was travelling there Frankel-esque, like the whole way through the race. She wasn't asked to move. She just went about it, hit the line really hard. She's in by Kath, who will really appreciate the mile and a half. So if anyone hasn't, I'd go back and watch that replay from Yarmouth.
Okay, she's a 33 to 1 shot, 20s with some firms, but there's several who are going 33s about William Haggis's filly for the Oaks. I'm all over Giselle, Jamie. I know that she was very keen, a little bit fresh, and it's a small field race, but she wears a hood. But it's Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. This was the filly that they were talking about most last season. She gets beaten by Bedtime Story, who then destroys her opposition at Royal Ascot and ran well in the French 1000 Guineas on her comeback. And she'll stay. I don't have any doubt that she'll stay. It's just whether or not her temperament will be okay at Epsom. If they don't fire off any fireworks, we should be all right.
You just said Giselle just to give me a poke in the head, isn't it, Emmet, last week, isn't it? Yeah. You know I don't like her. You know exactly I'm on. Two horses were mentioned. I said it last week. The Oaks is between Falakwe and Desert Flower. Laura described it beautifully. She's beautiful. She's unreal. She's the next coming, I think, as a filly. She'll win the Oaks. But I agree with Adam. Falakwe should be second favourite, and 8-1 is massive each way to find out to beat Desert Flower, yeah. Again, 2-horse race, move on.
For all that I did save my Giselle line just to wind up.
Of course you did. I know, I was waiting for it. He's going to say Giselle. Wait, no.
I really do fancy her, and she's also a sea of blue. She's been backed into 8-1. This time last week, she was 11.
You need to get on the show now after compete because you're such in love with Giselle. Get Tom Brady on the show.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have any nice things to say about Giselle.
He was
anymore.
over in Ireland. He was down in Kerry there playing Ballybudding the last day. I should have said it to him.
Was he down in the land of the kingdom? Was he?
He was, yeah.
Oh, fair play. Okay, he's got good taste. Good to see Tom Brady coming over to explore his Irish roots. I think Aidan O'Brien will win. I think Giselle will be the one who'll win. And you're not having it, Laura.
No, Giselle. I like. How are they going to keep a lid on her at Epsom? That's, I don't know. Good luck to them. She's obviously got an engine, but yeah, she acted the way she did at Lingfield. I mean, I guess it'll be test and that'll suit her. She might help her settle, but just on Falakea, I'm pretty sure she goes for the Diane from what I've heard, and I think the same connections are potentially going to supplement El Wateen. I know she was fourth in the Guineas, and I think she's got a real shout as well at a big price. I think she's about 20 to 1 now, but the word is around Newmarket that El Wateen will be supplemented. But Falakea, I think that they are concerned. They expressed it after the race as well, that whether she'd settle over a mile and a half, and I think it's legitimate.
Side Bin Roar might have an outside chance of doing the double. El Wateen ran a huge race in the 1000 Guineas. Yeah,
and that was mentioned straight after the race. I think I read it somewhere that they're thinking Oaks for her. So
okay, I think she's 20s. Yeah, there's 3 bookmakers. She needs supplementing, so bear that in mind. But El Wateen is a 20 to 1 shot. Some crack if Side Bin Roar for Shadwell wins the Oaks, and then the next day wins the Derby for Godolphin. He's like Tony Stark in Iron Man in the cave. He built this with a box of scraps. They give him nothing. He made one comment about backward horses from the sales, and that was the end of it. Nothing from the sales gets sent to him. Charlie gets all the pick of the best of them. Saeed only gets the scraps, and he still manages to go and win Group 1s. Final selections for the Oaks and the Derby. Laura Joy.
I cannot look past Freeland Court for the Derby. He's just, the fact he's 4 to 1 is wild to me. And then, yeah, obviously Desert Flower. But there was that filly that finished second on Friday at Newbury, Revoir of Rafe Beckett's. I think she's definitely interesting. She moved straight away after the race, but I think she went into 25s. But she's by Study of Man. She's from the family of Lookyer, who won the Oaks, and that was only her second start. And the winner had a run and has a lot more experience as well, that Kilken Queen. So, I think she's a really interesting filly. Study of Man is the real deal as well. Sorry, Calpana, obviously, last year. He's a classic winner himself. She's from a classic family. So, I could see her getting involved as well.
By Justify out of a High Chaparral mare, already a classic winner, unbeaten in 2 starts this season, and yet you're getting 4 to 1 about him for the Derby. I don't understand it. It does not make sense to me. My brain can't compute it. Laura's all over him. He should be favourite for the race. I don't understand it. Ruling Court is the main pick for me. Stay True is the each way bet. Absolutely. I hope that the Coolmore team supplement him. Don't know if they will. Adam, your pick for the Derby and the Oaks.
So for the Derby, I'll just stick with Lambourne. I will stick with Lambourne. I'll back him again on the day. I don't need to go in now because he's going to be stable second or third string. I just really like what he did at Chester Laura has completely destroyed any hope out of winning the Oaks. I really like Falakia, and obviously I've also already decided that Mandanaba wins the Prix de Diane, so there's no point backing Falakia there. That's a real shame. Well, I'll have to stick with Desert Flower, won't I? The Oaks might be just a race to watch.
Possibly. I'm keeping the faith with Giselle. I'm going to say it for Archie and not Jamie, so I don't completely blow Jamie's mind again. Laura's done all she can to talk me off her. Jamie just can't have her at all. Maybe I need to go and have a word with myself. Perhaps Minnie Hawk is more of the pick. But Archie, your 2 picks, the Derby and the Oaks.
For the Derby, I think Ruling Court will win and Hope wins. And for the Oaks, Minnie Hawk each way and Alobea each way if she goes. I'm not 100% sure if she's going.
If I switch to Minnie Hawk and Giselle wins, I will be so pissed at all of you. Jamie?
The Line of Winter and Desert Flower, but Laura's after ruining my day now that Falaka is not running the Oaks. But sure, we'll get over it.
She's still in, so she could still go.
Desert Flower will win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Laura Joy, breaking hearts here on the Final Furlong podcast.
The way I see it is they can always run up until deck stage. It's always just talk, isn't it? I mean, they could decide we're not going, and then at 2 minutes to 10, they're like, oh, sort it, we'll run. So
you have crushed their hearts, Laura. You have broken their dreams and crushed their hearts. From the team and from me, look after yourself and each other. God bless.
In horse racing, every furlong matters and every episode counts. So stay ahead of the field by hitting subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. It's free and it gets you one step closer to the winner's enclosure. Subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast and join us on the gravy train.